Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Krystle Sieghart, and Krystle is Executive Director of Healing Justice Santa Barbara. Welcome, Krystle.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here because you have quite a story to tell, and I am eager to find out more about what Healing Justice Santa Barbara does.
Yeah. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is that we aspire to affirm and uplift all Black African American identifying individuals along the Central Coast to affirm that they are deserving of safety, joy, love, and respect.
Well, that's quite a good mission. Yeah. So tell me what you do to make all that happen.
Oh, so much, so many things.
Yeah.
I guess the best thing to tell you is how we started.
Okay.
And so in 2020, we experienced a global pandemic, right?
Right.
So I would say into 2019, into 2020. But specifically in America, we were experiencing a time of isolation, a time of heightened scarcity, a time that, we were hyper vigilant and focused on social justice, health equity, wellness issues, right, globally. And also during that time, what was happening was police brutality was put on, I think, the forefront of everyone's mind. And the police brutality against specifically Black bodies. And so we were seeing videos in media, really the consumption of this, right, in our families.
It was everywhere. It was
everywhere.
Everywhere you looked, there it was.
It was, and you couldn't ignore it. And people had to finally deal with something that Black people had been dealing with in their homes for, decades, for years.
So now all of a sudden, it was right in front of them. And so you're right. Everybody had to deal with that. What do I think about this? What should I do about this?
Right. People were forced to, it was like a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, myself, and then the other co-founder of Healing Justice, Simone Aquila Ruskamp, we had been organizing in this community for a long time, doing a lot of like city, county organizing, things around tennis rights. Simone had done something around like the use of force policies with the sheriff's department in Santa Barbara, reviewing it and kind of editing it. And so we had been showing up in spaces, in a lot of community organizing spaces. And we noticed that there was a lack of dealing and talking about issues that pertain to Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, when this happened in 2020, it was our chance to really name specifically what anti-Black racism looked like in Santa Barbara County. Because although you saw the Black Lives Matter movement go global and you saw marches and protests everywhere, geographically, the issues can look differently in certain communities, especially a community like Santa Barbara County that's predominantly Latinx and white.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So here you were. You had been really showing up at various places and noticing things that were going on globally as well as locally. And you said, we need to do something here.
Yes.
And so the two of you, and when I introduced you, I forgot to say that you're also a co-founder.
Yes.
So then the two of you decided to do something.
Yeah, with the support of allies and with the permission of the Black community, because we just didn't want to, we're not the only people that this is impacting. And to be honest, as two cisgender, straight Black women, we're not as marginalized as some other Black folks that might be experiencing other forms of oppression like incarceration or houselessness. And so it was important for us to do a call out to our community in the form of a healing circle, because Simone's has a master's in social work and she's a licensed clinician. At the time, she was going through training and schooling. And so it was important for us to do a call out to see where people were at, how they were feeling, because a lot of Black people were mourning. We were like publicly mourning. It was a lot for us to not only having to experience those feelings inside ourselves, but then also publicly because so many people were asking things of us during that time. Can you speak? Can you come here? What can I do? How can I help? And it was a lot. So we just needed to gather in a space. We gathered virtually. And we just asked, first it was just a processing space. How do you feel? And then at the end, I said, do we want to protest? Because maybe people don't. And maybe that looks different for us in this community. And our community said yes. So we kind of sprung into action. We got together our allies that we had organized with in community before. And we held, I would call it a demonstration because one, it was peaceful, but it was loving. And we brought together all of our supporters. And as far as I know, it's the largest protest in the history of Santa Barbara.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so here's what I noticed. I really applaud you for this. So you and Simone, is that her?
Yes, Simone. Yeah.
So you and Simone, you had your ideas about what was happening, what should happen, what could happen. But rather than just, bulldoze out there and make something happen, you invited people and asked them what they were thinking, what they were feeling, and what they would like to see done. And then you sort of joined together and moved forward. That's just really admirable.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't think we can take all the credit because I think that's something that is just in the soul of Black women to do. If you look at movements historically, Black women have always kind of been inclusive and loving and caring in their movements. So one, I would say thanks to our ancestors for just creating and laying the foundation for us to just continue to carry the baton on and do this work because there was already Black women in this community doing this work. The late and dear beloved Sojourner Kincaid Roll.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Miss Eonja Brown, the president of Martin Luther King Jr. SB Committee. And so there has been plenty of wonderful Black women in this community that we've been able to pull from and learn from to just continue to do this work. So a lot of that was us just tapping into our spiritual ancestors and knowing what was right.
That's so great. So here, once again, you are sharing the credit, if you want to call it that. Yeah. but you're acknowledging the role that other people are and or have played in your work.
Yes.
I think that's pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
So you serve the Central Coast. Is that right? But your headquarters are in Santa Barbara.
Yes, yes. Our offices are in Santa Barbara thanks to the Hutton Parker Foundation.
Oh, great.
Because they buy up buildings and rent at reasonable, affordable prices for nonprofits. So we're in the Chapala, I think it's the John, I forgot the name of the building. But our offices are in there. But part of our programming, we do youth programming. So we have a Black Student Alliance. And so we have an MOU with the Santa Barbara Unified School District to support the Black Student Union Club organizations on campus. And so we actually also do site visits. So we go onto the campuses. We hire college mentors from Santa Barbara City College, Westmont, UCSB. They do a year program with us. We've been doing it for about 3 years now, the intern program. This is our second year doing the MOU with Santa Barbara Unified. And through that, we do site visits. So that's kind of part of our work, too. And then we have events, and we do all sorts of other things.
That's really great to involve the students like that.
Oh, yeah. Youth is, one, I personally just love working with youth. I prefer them over adults these days. They're just so expressive, and also they help me be a better leader and learn, right? Because I'm learning from an entire different generation that's just experiencing and existing in this life in different ways than we do. And so our work always centers youth and elders, because I think those are the forgotten demographics.
Yeah. Well, once again, there you go. Paying attention and learning from others.
Yes.
That's quite an admirable quality, my dear.
Yes.
Good. So, all right. Now then you have parenting classes as well? Do you do parenting? It seems like I read that
So
on your
we
website.
support families, like the core of the three core leadership leaders, which is me, Simone, and then Letitia Rush.
Okay.
We're all mothers, so it is important for us to be family centered and make sure our programming, our offerings are always inclusive to families. And so part of that is parenting people, and we know that's often left out of conversations, or there's not
Sure.
accessible ways for parents to participate. And so we did a parenting fellowship retreat where parents got to come and stay in a space and engage in workshops and educational workshops and bonding and community organizing and building, and they got to bring their littles with them on this
Oh.
retreat. And it was great. I think we had about, I want to say 13, 14 parents, and some brought their littles, some didn't, and the ones that didn't, we provided childcare stipends so they could have somebody watch them, because maybe you want a little vacation.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to
good.
bring your child, maybe you need a break. But a lot brought their littles too, and that was great. And our kids joined during the day at times. And it's something we definitely want to keep going.
Yeah.
We got great feedback from it, and parents really needed it. People don't think about that. Everybody always wants to have all these great professional networking opportunities, but then they forget about folks that have little ones. Like Simone has a baby. I have a 16th, 17th month old. And so it's important to include that.
Yeah, that's very wise. Yeah, really tailoring what you're doing to the needs of the people that you're serving.
Yes.
Yeah. So I found something else on your website that I want to hear more about. Let's see, what do you call it? The Chocolate Baby Story Time or Stories?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, we do. So we do productions. We love to film all of our things. We're visual storytellers, I would say. And part of that, Simone actually started Chocolate Baby Storytime because she was taking her little one, the time she had one kid, and she was taking them to storytime readings at the libraries here.
Oh, okay.
And she was noticing that the books that they were reading weren't culturally representative
isn't that
to
interesting?
her experience as a Black, dark-skinned woman.
Yeah.
And so she was like, you know what, I'm just going to start my own. And so at the time she was helping out with El Centro. It's a little space on the Lower East Side. And they had a space, and she was like, I'm going to host Chocolate Baby Storytime. So she invited parents, put it out there, and little parents could bring their little ones, and she would specifically have books that centered Black youth. And then once we met Letitia, and she came on board, and she graduated from UCSB in film and media studies, she was like, I want to make this a show. And we did it. We hit the ground running, and we got local Black community members to read books, and we recorded it, and we put out episodes, and we do them themed. So we have like Black History Month. We have a You Matter one. We have a Juneteenth one. I think we had one about kids with disabilities, one about having people in your family that identify as LGBTQIA+. plus.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I can see how that'd be so popular.
Oh,
and
yeah.
such a fabulous idea. And then to
Yeah.
film it, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and it's expanding to even a bigger project. We are currently writing our own children's book based off of the history that we have learned through the Preserving the Landmarks with the historic context statement we did in partnership with the city of Santa Barbara. So we're writing a children's storybook so kids can learn the local history as well. And we're going to film a Chocolate Baby Storytime, but it's going to be elevated. So it's like Reading Rainbow meets, Mr. What was it? It's a Beautiful Day. Mr. Rogers.
Oh,
yes. And so it'll be like a bridge of that, and of course our own little twist on it.
Oh gosh, well, good for you, man.
Yes.
You folks are just going places.
Oh yeah, we love being creative.
Yeah. So now I know that Healing Justice Santa Barbara is you mentioned a 501c3 nonprofit, and so I'll bet a person could go on your website
Yes.
And you have a donate now button, and they can make a tax-deductible financial donation.
Yes, yes. And we use third party, which is great. So
Oh.
you don't have to worry about waiting for us for any forms. We use Act Blue Charities. And so the donate link will take you to their website. And we have currently, we're fundraising for our gala that we do during every Black History Month.
That's a great idea.
Yes, yes. We did our first one, and now we're coming into doing our second one. So we're excited about that. And then of course we just do year round. You can always donate. We love reoccurring donors. So if you want to sign up if you actually sign up for a year, you get to be listed as a sponsor of the gala. So if you sign up for a year, reoccurring donations.
That's very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And so do you use volunteers in your work?
Yeah, we do. If you go to our website, you can sign up for our newsletter, and we send out newsletters twice a month. And through our newsletters, you can find out updates on upcoming events, program updates, and updates on how you can volunteer.
Good. Yeah, I would think that there'd be a lot of people out there that would be interested in volunteering.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We get a lot of interest in volunteers.
Yeah. And so, let's see, tell me more about this. Is it a historical archiving in Santa Barbara? Tell me I saw a picture of it on your website, but what is that?
Yeah, yeah. So during that protest, what I forgot to mention is we put out a list of demands to the city and the county that we wanted them to meet. And we strategically did like a marketing campaign where they were posted as we were actually out there naming them in front of all the people that showed up to the demonstration. And one of the demands was to preserve historic Black landmarks. And on that list was St. Paul AME Church, which is the first Black African-American church in Santa Barbara. I think it's 1904 or 05. And so we had that on the list for the Historic Landmark Commission. And through our organizing efforts and getting that preserved, the architectural historian for the city of Santa Barbara, Nicole Hernandez, reached out to us and she said, hey, California is doing grants to make historic context statements specifically for Black African-American communities, because a lot of times people destroyed due to white supremacy, our history was destroyed, or our buildings were taken away from us, or, and so through redlining, gentrification, all kinds of things.
Yes.
And so the state of California put aside funds. I believe Los Angeles already has done one. San Francisco, other big cities are doing these context statements. And so we partner with the city of Santa Barbara and an architectural firm in Los Angeles called Page and Turnbull. And we did a proposal to the city of Santa Barbara so that they could sign on for us to apply for this grant. And they did. So we're listed as sub-consultants, and we got a grant from the state of California to create a historic context statement. And it basically surveys the history, puts it on a legal document. It goes back all the way to like the 1600s to today. And it puts all these landmarks in a document so that we can then recommend them for preservation to the Historic Landmark Commission to then go to the city of Santa Barbara.
You gals are on it. You are busy.
Yeah, we are.
You are juggling right and left.
Yes.
Well, good for you.
Super busy all the time.
So we have about a minute left. Is there anything else that you'd like our viewers or listeners to know about Healing Justice Santa Barbara?
Yes, definitely just the importance of supporting Black people in philanthropy. Right now in the state of California, I think Black people make up more than 40% of the houseless population, even though we're one of the lowest populations just in terms of like people that live here. But we make up the majority of houseless population.
That's an interesting
Yeah,
statistic.
the California Black Legislative Caucus has this data readily available because they're they are advocating for reparations right now in the state of California. So that is why it's so important right now to really center Black philanthropy in conversations in terms of like fundraising, funding, grant making, because our community is struggling in this state, and we shouldn't, because we are one of the largest grossing, I think, states in the. Actually, we might have the largest grossing income, I think, in the world, or either the second or the fifth,
Wow.
just the state of California. And you could correct me if I'm wrong on that data, but I think we're in the top 5.
Yeah.
So to me, there's no excuse, right?
Right.
Everyone should be having housing here.
Yes.
Everyone should not be experiencing food insecurity. And so really just if we center the most marginalized, then it makes a pathway for everyone to be taken care of.
That's an important piece. Well, Krystle, thank you so much for your very important work. And thanks for sharing it with us on 805 Focus.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on 805 Focus, and we will see you next time.